Hello, this is Clémentine from Books with Clémentine. And today I wanted to do the mid-year fig out tag. I have already done my quarterly wrap-up, but I thought there were enough questions that were a bit different that I didn't answer. And I love watching this tag on YouTube, so I thought it would be a lot of fun to actually do it for the first time for me. Without further ado, let's go to the questions. I have my trusty tablet here with the questions in there so I don't forget one. First, best book of 2026 so far, easy choice, and that is The Raven Scholar by Anthony Hodgson. I already talked about it in my quarterly wrap-up, but I have loved this fantasy book, this debut novel, this start of a series, the twists, the turns, the theories I had reading this. I just loved my time with this. It is a fantasy with some mystery elements blended into it. It's subverting your expectations for sure. At every single turn, I had some theories and it didn't go where I thought it would, but I don't want to talk about plot twist after plot twist. It's not that much plot twisty. I think it's just playing with your mind a little bit and what you are expecting, because you're expecting a lot of things with some fantasy elements that are introduced in this, and it's just playing with it and then doing something differently, which I really appreciated. I am so beyond excited for the sequel to this book coming out sometime next year, hopefully, and I will be waiting for it and for sure rereading this one because I had so much fun, but also because it is an intricate, very well plotted book, and I will need a refresher for sure, and I will want to reread it because I loved it. Number 2, best sequel you've read so far in 2026. That is The Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook by Matt Dinniman. I have loved my time with the Dungeon Crawler Carl series, which I actually started in 2026, and it is part of my favorites of the year, although not the best book so far, but I have really enjoyed every single book more and more, and this book 3, The Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook, was really good. I especially loved how we had some changes between the relationship between Carl and Princess Donut as we are moving through the different levels, and they are both changing a little bit, and they have to revise, especially Carl, his way of dealing with Princess Donut because she has changed now. I loved my time with it. Also, the narrator is amazing. I will read those via audio all the time, for sure. I know everybody is talking about the narration in this, and even if you're not an audiobook reader, I would say try it because you might actually like it. And I didn't talk about what the Dungeon Crawler Carl series is really, but this is essentially an RPG video game inspired book. It's like a role-playing game / video game inspired book. And you're following Carl at the beginning of the series. He is just taking care of his ex-girlfriend's cat, Princess Donut, when aliens come down to Earth, destroy all the building, all the people inside are dead. Luckily for Carl, he was just trying to wrangle Princess Donut out of a tree outside. I believe out of a tree. I don't remember exactly, but he was outside, and he's met with a choice. Although it's not really a choice because Princess Donut chooses for him, but he is now in this dungeon crawling televised game and trying to survive. And essentially, if they manage to survive for 18 or 19 levels, they will be able to get Earth back from the aliens who just colonized it. However, these aliens have done a lot of colonizing and a lot of different planets have already been destroyed. Nobody has ever won this televised game in the history of it, which has been many times. So the odds are stacked completely against them. We are just navigating this survival game with them as they are trying to survive mostly and trying to understand the rules, trying to also see a little bit more and more as we go on what is happening behind the games, as there is a lot of politics obviously involved into this television game mechanics. Number 3, new release you haven't read yet but want to. What I'm gonna pick is The Ballad of Falling Dragons by Sarah A. Parker. I have pre-ordered this book and I was hoping to read it as soon as I got my hands on it, and I didn't. Mostly because I'm actually thinking of maybe rereading book 1 before I get into this one, as I realized that I forgot a few things since I read this book last year, and a lot of my friends who actually did reread book 1 said that you actually get a lot more from it on a reread, and they really enjoyed their reread of it. So I do want to try and reread, but we'll see in the second half of the year what I do with this. But that's going to be my answer for it. Number 4, most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Can I say 2? Because I am so beyond excited for 2 of them. So excited. So first there's Daggerbound by T. Kingfisher. I believe this one is coming out end of August or in September. I forgot the release date exactly, but I put it on the screen. I'm so excited. This is the sequel I didn't know was happening until a few months ago of Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher. That is one of my favorite romanticises of all time. I love this book so much. I intentionally didn't read the synopsis for Daggerbound because I want to be surprised, but since it's part of the Sword Heart kind of universe series, I'm assuming we are going to be following one of the people who was turned into a sword, although since it's called Daggerbound, I'm assuming it's a dagger this time, and I'm here for whatever is going to happen. So in the first book, in Sword Heart, we're following Hala as she is in a dire situation. Her uncle died recently and gave her the inheritance, and everybody else in the family is not happy because he's not her uncle by blood, he's her uncle by marriage, and he gave all the money to her when they were expecting to get it, and they are intent on making her marry her cousin by marriage so that they get the money. And they're intending to marry her, breed her, so that they get the money, and she is essentially a prisoner in her own home. So she doesn't see really a way out up until she draws this sword that's been gathering dust in the house, and pops out this knight/soldier Sarkis, who just declares that he's at her service because she drew the sword and she is the master of said sword, who he is and has been for at least 1,000 years, I think. And enter this kind of funny / very horrendous tale for Hala, trying to just figure it out and trying to regain her inheritance. And her story with Sarkis. Yeah, I think it's a kind of lower stakes, cozy-ish romanticises. It does have some stakes, it does have stressful situation, but I would say that it's lower stakes in the sense that it's more of a personal stake in the story, and it's not like if anything bad happens to them, the world is gonna crumble. The world is gonna be perfectly fine. So I don't know what we're gonna get with Daggerbound. I didn't read it. I'm just waiting for my hands to get it. This is one of the 2 pre-orders I have. The second one I have is the sequel to A Drop of Corruption by Robert Jackson Bennett. This is book 2. This one is book 2 in the series. Book 1 was The Tainted Cup, and I am so excited. I don't know if it's going to be a trilogy. I know that Robert Jackson Bennett has written trilogies so far, so I am expecting it to be only 3 books, but I'm not sure. But I'm super excited to get to book 3, which is called A Trade of Blood, and I think it's coming out in October. I think it is. Obviously, I could talk also about the new Crowns of Nyxia series by Carissa Broadbent that is coming out at the end of August, I believe, number 5. But the other 2 are absolute must for me. I am so excited for them. I will drop every other thing I'm reading to be able to read them when I get my hands on them, and I pre-ordered them, so hopefully I get them pretty early after their release. Here we go. That was the one I was dreading. Number 5, biggest disappointment. Let me grab it. Yeah, The Dragon Republic by Earth Kwang is my biggest disappointment. I will say mostly because I really enjoyed the first book, The Poppy War, and this sequel disappointed me so much. And spoiler, but I also read book 3 in July, which is the second half of a year, but it's not going better. It's just going downhill for me. So this one is definitely my biggest disappointment, really, because I really enjoyed the beginning of this series. And then the choices made for the characters, it made me really dislike the main character. I understand that circumstances can change a character, but really for me, from the first book, this character felt so different to me, and to the point that I didn't even see the building blocks of her, even through the trauma and all the things that happened to her in book 1. I can understand that she could be broken, but she should still have a similar personality in some parts that's, or at least something that makes you think that she's still the same character. On top of it, this book for me didn't need to happen. It could have been a duology. You could have had some parts of this book put in book 1 and the other parts in book 3, and that would have been fine for me. A lot of the middle was not super interesting. It was boring. It was a slog. You started to have also some other side characters that did a 180. Suddenly they changed their opinion because the plot said so. And the end of the book was full of plot conveniences for me in this one. It really truly felt like the author wanted to get the characters from this point A to point B, and then she needed them to be at point B at the end of the book, and she just made it happen. I will stop here because I could rant about this series for a while, and we need to get a move on and get to more interesting questions, shall we? Number 6, biggest surprise. Biggest surprise for me is The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig, mostly because of my expectations about this book. I heard from a lot of people that the writing was very atmospheric, that this was a gothic romantic fantasy, and it is. And I surprised myself by actually enjoying and actually feeling the gothic atmosphere for once, and not being bored by descriptions, which there aren't a lot, to be honest. But it's really amazing how Rachel Gillig, despite not having a lot of description, manages to have this atmosphere conveyed to the reader. And especially for me, as I'm not picturing anything, I still felt this eerie feeling, mostly because of the main character, who is a diviner. Her name is Six. She doesn't have a name like all the diviners that are part of her sort of coven, and she is divining the future to people through being drowned in this special pool and then just seeing through special omens what's going to happen to this person. Also, there's even more atmosphere in it because the diviners always have this shroud on their face as they have to protect their identities. They need to have this aura of mystery and also mystique so that it feels a little bit more diviner-esque, right? I feel. It is a really interesting book. This is a duology, and book 2 is actually coming out real soon, I think. I'm excited for that one too, to come out, to be honest, too. And also finish a series. It will be nice to have a series that I actually start and finish in 2026. And that is also only a duology, not too long for once as a series, is really a nice change. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. I have to say that the romance in this was not the most interesting part for me. I think I was mostly intrigued with the mystery, the plot, the magical elements were all really, really interesting to me. Don't get me wrong, I did root for a relationship by the end of this book, but it did take me a good while to actually get into it. It might be also because I haven't been in such a romance kind of mood in this first half of the year, although with the summer, I feel like I might be more in a romance kind of mood, so we'll see where my reads go. Anyways, number 7, favorite new author, debut or new to you. I feel like I cannot put an author like Antonia Hodgson just because I usually don't put a new favorite author when I've read only one book from them. So I think tentatively I will put instead Matt Dinniman for the Dungeon Chronicle series. Granted, I've read 3 books from him already, but in the same series. So I'm still tentative on this. I think it's always important to see in a favorite author when they have written different series if you really love all of them, or if it was a one-off for the series and then they write something different and you're like, nah, it's not super my thing. Number 8, newest fictional crush. I don't really do crushes in books, but maybe I can rephrase it and say like best love interest instead. And I think I will put Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation for this. I will put the love interest Long Wanji. He is very, how to say, he is a man of few words. He is very cold towards the main character, but he is one of those characters that I do love, that kind of trope that is very cold, very taciturn, very serious, but is so in love with the main character. He is a simp for them, but he's still very awkward because he doesn't know romance or anything of the sort. So he doesn't know how to act around him, and it's just so funny to see to me. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with the series, and definitely this love interest was really, really entertaining for me. Number 9, newest favorite character. Okay, I have it here. It is, I had it really just literally behind my shoulder blades, so I had to... Anyway, my newest fictional character is Aska from Along the Razor's Edge by Rob J. Hayes, which is the first book in the War Eternal series. Aska is such a strong character. You're following her in this series, and also in this narration voice as she is recounting her story as she is older and the events have passed. But in this first book, she is imprisoned in these mines underground and is basically trying to survive, trying to find a way out. And you know from the narration that she figured out a way to get out, but you have to understand what's happened to her, how she did actually get out. And I loved really her voice. I think she is probably not the favorite character for everyone. She can probably come off as entitled, especially in her future self, as she gained a lot of power as we gather. So she has a high opinion of herself, for sure. But for reason, as she did do a lot. Probably. I mean, I only read book 1, so I have to see the rest of her story, but yeah, it's really, really good. I really enjoyed Aska, and it's mostly because of her that I want to continue the series, so I should do that sooner rather than later. Number 10, book that made you cry. And for this, I will actually put a book that I read right at the end of June, and that is We Burned So Bright by TJ Klune. This is a novella that really packs a punch. You are following an elderly gay couple in their 70s as they are going on this final road trip before the end of the world, as a black hole suddenly appeared in our galaxy and has been slowly but surely getting every planet in the solar system, and the Earth is next. Obviously, as we were talking about the end of the world, I knew from the start that this book was gonna be sad, for sure. But I didn't realize how sad. I should have, because TJ Klune is my top favorite author ever. So I should have realized that the emotions would pack a punch, but they really do. I have to say though that I do cry easily in books. I do laugh easily in books, but this book made me sob, really sob completely for the last, I don't know, 30, 40 pages. And just thinking about it, I want to cry again. So I am not going to talk more about it, as I think all that I would say about this book, more than this, would be spoilers. And also it would make me cry again, so I won't do that. But yes, please try it. Although check the trigger warnings definitely before you pick it up. That is important. Number 11, book that made you happy. So a book that made me happy is Fries Marito Salted Fish, Volume 1 by VKB. I picked this book up because of the title, and I needed to know what Fries Marito Salted Fish meant. And then I started to read this book. I was really pleasantly surprised. First, by the translation. Second, I think because the tropes in this book were done in a particular way that I haven't seen before. And three, because also in Damnée, usually that I have read so far, the characters are really good people. Even if they say they are villains, they're still doing things because of noble causes, right? In this book, though, we are following people who do bad things simply because people just offend them. And they just say like, yeah, you are gonna die and you are gonna die. And that is it. Could they have figured out another way to get under people's skin without completely destroying their lives or killing them? Yeah, but it's entertaining to watch them actually do that. I will say the romantic elements in this Damnée is not prevalent in this first book, and I have to say, I really enjoyed that you're taking your time and you have a slow burn, especially as in this first book, we're following this guy who's just been studying to be a physician, and suddenly the emperor tells him he has to marry this guy who's terminally ill because the omens told them that he would actually help his health to be married to this guy. So he has no choice in the marriage and he is trapped. So I appreciated that the romance elements were not prevalent in this, because I would have felt weird to have this romance really happen really fast when he didn't have any choice in the matter at all. Instead, you have more of a friendship partnership that is happening between the two. You definitely see that one of them might start to have more feelings than the other in terms of romantic feelings, right? But it's really interesting. I am actually reading volume 2 right now, and I am having so much fun with it too. So this definitely made me happy. I recommend it. Number 12, most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. I will put this one. This is another volume of Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation. To be honest, I could put any of those books in there. These are deluxe editions, and I think the illustrations are so beautiful. I love the illustration style. Also, the color scheme of this one with the red and the stenciled edges like this. Also, under the dust jacket is also super pretty with the foiling, and the end pages are more illustrations and they are gorgeous. And even in the book, you do have some illustrations too. Those were part of a standard edition, I believe, but they are still very, very pretty. This series is definitely one I've loved collecting as deluxe edition. I also have the deluxe editions of Evan Official's Blessing, which I can show you one of them right now. I believe this one I bought last year though. I did finish collecting the last volumes this year though, so it does also count. 13, best book to film adaptation you've seen this year. That's gonna be quick because I realize I haven't seen any. I think this year has been pretty big in terms of film or series adaptation, but a lot of them I realize are from romances, especially contemporary romances, which I don't read really that much, especially this year. I don't even think, maybe I read one? I don't know. Maybe I should look up the latest book to film adaptations and maybe do some watching. Let me know in the comments if you have any recommendations for me about this. I would love to know and maybe put things on my watch list. Number 14, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? Oh, wow. So many. If you have seen my quarterly wrap up, you would have seen that I didn't make progress on my priority series for 2026 in this second quarter. So I still have 4 series that I wanted to finish to at least make some progress on. I think at this point, I'm not expecting to finish everything, but I would say The First Law World by Joe Abercrombie, for example, I still need to read Wreck Country. I have to mention also the Spellslinger series by Sébastien de Castell, which is one of my favorite authors. I really, really want to finish this series. Just my god, it's not my favorite, it is a YA, but I do want to read it because I find it still interesting in terms of the world. I think it's an easier fun time. Also, it's an easier read. I love the animal companion aspect to it for sure. So I do want to continue. What else? We also have my 26 and 2026 priority books that I also haven't made enough progress on, especially in the TBR veterans section. I could name King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo, Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros, that at this point should be in my pile of shame. Take your pick. And I will stop there because otherwise I could be there until tomorrow talking to you about all the books I still need to read. And with this, we are done with this tag. So please let me know in the comments down below what is one book that you want to read before the end of the year, and if we have any books that are in common from this first half of a year that we've read. If you don't have anything to say but still want to let me know that you were here, how about you leave a pile of books emoji for all the books that we want to read by the end of the year and how delusional we still are about how little time and how many books we actually want to read. But this is the life of a book lover and I'm not mad about it. So with this, I will stop rambling, get back to reading, and I'll see you in the next one.